Hey YouTube, what's up? This is the Reluctant Navi back again. My news and views on some of the news, and another message to preach. And I'm gonna let somebody else do the preaching for me. I got a clip for you that everybody, black and white people, need to pay attention to, cause none of us was. I've been meaning to get around to this. None of us was taught this in the schools, but the white scientific establishment knows this. This is nothing new to the white scientific establishment. All right? They know this. The white people, the people in charge, the people in charge of our school systems, they know this, right? I wouldn't be surprised if certain members of the KKK know this. And then again, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody in the KKK knew this. They, it would mean that they did not exist. They would not exist without us. Us meaning black peoples. Okay. Now, first, let me do my shout out. Oi to the bang. Gudag, vases los, bonjour mes amis, kedu, bawani, konnichiwa. Ni hao, ni hama, Sani Bonani, and Jumbo Habarigani. And to my brother out there, I saw your message, Jumbo. Okay. Anyway, with that said, right, we have a catastrophic failure of how the children are being raised in the black family. It's a catastrophic failure. All right. And I've been meaning to get around to this, but with a lot of the stuff coming up, I wanted this message to be out. Right. And I wanted you people to take note. The dude that I'm about to show you a clip of is Dr. Frederick Casey Price. And I haven't seen much of him after he preached against Easter. He told the truth. I mean, on national television, this dude told it on national television how Easter is the worship of a false god, or let's say another god. But it is not the worship of the Almighty. It is a pagan worship. And he preached that message on national television. I taped it. I got it on VHS. All right. Now, I can have it transferred to DVD, but I'm just saying. All right. And then he preached this one. And I'm surprised that it's still out there. But I want y'all to share this. I want you all to share these messages. In all my videos, please share, subscribe, thumbs up. And brothers, you need to really thumbs up my videos. Because you got hater females and some simps that will go and just thumbs down without even looking at the video. It's the first thing they do. The video pop up. There's a thumbs down already seconds after the video popped up. Okay, seconds. Video pops up. There's a thumbs down already. Right? And I'm not even finished editing the video already before they're thumbs downing it. So I know they didn't watch it. All right. And so we get into this, and this is what black children need to be taught just straight off the bat. This is what black children need to be taught straight off the bat. All black children, all black people, they need to see this and hear this and have this. This is the message we need to reinforce. Not how to wear weave and get silicone booty injections. We'll get into that in a minute. All right. But this is what black children need to be taught. So peep out this video, this clip here. And it's Dr. Frederick Casey Price. And he's going to break it down to you with a lot of studying, and I mean, it's just going to be broken down like that. All right, so pay attention. Let's get those thumbs up right away, because that's another way of spreading the message, because Google kind of try to hide things based on thumbs up and down. To donate, my PayPal me link will be in the description box. All you got to do is click on it, and it'll lead you to what you need to do. It just goes straight to the page. You click it and say $1, $2, $3. It has to be at least $1. We know that much. You can't donate 50 cents, but it has to be $1 or more. So don't worry about that. And if you don't have anything, don't worry about it. And some of us understand it. Some of us don't have $1, because $1 is bus fare. All right. So so this goes out to you. Don't ever let nobody shame you when to them they think it's such a low limit. It's $1. Think about this. You say, well, I got $1 and it's an extra dollar, but you're not considering you might have to take the bus for 30 days. All right. That 29th day might be a mud hunter. That's the day you run out of all your $30. You see what I'm saying? No, you keep all your money until all your stuff is set up. Don't let nobody shame you into how much you're supposed to give or don't give. Because you're supposed to be a steward over your house first, over yourself first. And then if you have abundance, you give. That's all going to be a part of this lesson here. All right? So let's get it kicked.
And that's where all these strange colors come from. You go into darkest Africa, you ain't gonna find no yellow folk like this. You won't find no high yellows there. As such, not as original Africans. Okay? Now pick up on this. This is a marvelous thing that this man is saying, to us. And we need to realize this. He says that more than 600,000 men, 20 years and old and up, left Egypt, which must have been an additional 2 or 3 million women and children. Since the Jews were slaves, their women were undoubtedly concubines of the Egyptian and must have produced mixed offspring. After more than 400 years of slavery, almost every trace of the first 70 Jews must have been lost, together with their culture, sound just like black folk in America. Same thing. Okay? After more than 400 years of slavery, almost every trace of the first 70 Jews must have been lost, together with their culture. Thus, Jewish culture was Egyptian culture. To get an idea of what must have happened to those original 70 Jews, think of what has happened to Negroes in the United States who came here in hundreds of thousands over a period of centuries, and not all at once as the Jews did in Egypt. In other words, the 70 went to Egypt at one time, but the blacks were not brought in at one time. They were brought in over quite a few hundred years. Watch this now. Negroes are so Americanized that were it not for their color, one would forget that they ever came from Africa. Now watch this. The Falashas, or black Jews of Ethiopia, are probably very ancient. They claim lineal descent from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Call themselves Beta Israel, which means the chosen people, and observe the Passover. End of quote. In Sex and Race, Volume 1, page 28, Mr. Rodgers says, and I quote, increasingly, it is being said in the most informed scientific circles that the Negro was the ancestor of the human race. Henry Fairfield Osborn, late head of the American Museum of Natural History, who undoubtedly was a black man, head of the American Museum of Natural History, who had himself a strong tinge of white fanaticism, said, Negroid stock is even more ancient than Caucasian or Mongolian man. Henry Fairfield Osborn was a white man. Now, from Man Rises to Parnasius, page 201, Princeton, New Jersey, 1928, men of the Old Stone Age, quoting, men of the Old Stone Age, page 262, 278, and 279, 1918. Mr. Rodgers goes on to say, Griffith Taylor says, and I quote, a major principle of ecology tells us that the Negrito was therefore the earliest to develop of the 5 races. From environment, and I quote, from environment and race, page 230, London, 1927, environment and nation, on page 87, Chicago, printed in Chicago, 1936. Rodgers continues, there were several of these put together. It might sound a little confusing, but you get the tape and you'll be able to go back and get it. Rodgers continues, Professor W.K. Gregory, in the illustrated front piece of his book, entitled, and I quote, Our Face from Fish to Man, end of quote, gives the Tasmanian Negro as the first man. Rene Verneau, head of the Paleontological Institute of Paris says, and I quote, recent discoveries seem to indicate that the Negro element preceded the white and the yellow everywhere, end of quote. From, and I quote, Huxley Memorial Lectures for 1924. See, this stuff, they've been knowing about this stuff. You didn't get none of this in school. They didn't tell the black folk about it, and they didn't tell the white folks about it. 1924. Huxley Memorial Lecture for 1924 on page 20. Rodgers, see, Rodgers is a historian, so he's putting all these different things together. All this is in his book, but he's quoting from other authorities and authors, so that's why I'm trying to keep all this together. Huxley Memorial Lectures for 1924, page 20, Rodgers continues, and I quote, Griffith Taylor adds in support that the Negritos, or little Negroes, were the first in Europe. After the Neanderthal, a near-human Negroid type, and that the Negritos introduced their culture all over the world. The original color of primitive man was black. He says, now, in a book entitled, going to another place now, in a book entitled The Greek Historians by Godolphin, copyright 1942, Random House Incorporated, in the book called Herodotus, chapter 104 and 105, on pages 130 and 131. Now, Herodotus was considered the father of history. Now watch this. Quoting Herodotus, who, by the way, lived 500 years before Christ and was called the father of history. Quoting, there can be no doubt that the Colchians are an Egyptian race. Before I heard any mention of the fact from others, I had remarked it myself. This is Herodotus talking. After the thought had struck me, I made inquiries on the subject both in Colchis and in Egypt. And I found that the Colchians had a more distinct recollection of the Egyptians than the Egyptians had of them. Colchis, this is my insertion now. Colchis, by the way, was an ancient province in Asia, east of the Black Sea. Going on to quote Herodotus. Still, the Egyptians said that they believed the Colchians to be descended from the army of Sesostris. My own conjectures were founded first, get this now, first on the fact that they are black-skinned and have woolly hair, which certainly amounts to but little, since several other nations are so too. But I further and more especially on the circumstance that the Colchians, the Egyptians, and the Ethiopians are the only nations who have practiced circumcision from the earliest times. The Phoenicians and the Syrians of Palestine themselves confess that they learnt the custom of the Egyptians. And the Syrians who dwell about the rivers Thermodon and Parthenius, as well as their neighbors, the Macronians, say that they have recently adopted it from the Colchians. Now, these are the only nations who use circumcision, and it is plain that they all imitate herein the Egyptians. With respect to the Ethiopians, indeed, I cannot decide whether they learned the practice of the Egyptians or the Egyptians of them. It is undoubtedly a very ancient date in Ethiopia, but that the others derived their knowledge of it from Egypt is clear to me, from the fact that the Phoenicians, when they come to have commerce with the Greeks, cease to follow the Egyptians in this custom and allow their children to remain uncircumcised. I will add a further proof of the identity of the Egyptians and the Colchians. These two nations weave their linen in exactly the same way. And there is a way, and this is a way entirely unknown to the rest of the world. They also in their whole mode of life and in their language resemble one another. The Colchian linen is called by the Greeks Sardonian, while that which comes from Egypt is known as Egyptian. In his book entitled, that's the end of quote. In his book entitled From Superman to Man by J. Rodgers, copyright 1968 by Helga M. Rodgers, page 18 and 19, historian J. Rodgers says, Aristotle, in his Physiognomy, chapter 6, distinctly mentions the Ethiopians as having woolly hair and the Egyptians as being black-skinned. Now, every movie you have seen about Egypt, Pharaoh, dogs and the cats are all white. The only time you see a black is when he's a slave. All right. Now, Rodgers goes on to say, and I quote, Count M.C. de Volney, author of The Ruins of Empire, says, the ancient Egyptians were real Negroes of the same species as the other present natives of Africa. End of quote. De Volney further states in the same work, says Rodgers, quoting again, to the race of Negroes, oh, watch this now, to the race, now this de Volney was a Frenchman, so he'd be classified as white. Okay, now watch this now. And I'm quoting, to the race of Negroes, the object of our extreme contempt, we owe our arts, sciences, and even the very use of speech. End of quote. They didn't teach us this in school. Only thing they taught us is that we came over on slave ships and picked cotton. That's about it. I mean, really. You know, overall as a whole. All right, now. Admittedly, the references we have looked at thus far could certainly be classified as past history. So let's bring it closer to our day and time. In an article in the Washington Post, another Negro-owned and operated publication, the Washington Post, copyright 1994, the Washington Post, November 16, 1994, Wednesday, final edition, byline by Boyce Rensberger, Washington Post staff writer, I quote, the overwhelming conclusion of anthropologists, in short, is that no physical features distinguish any race, not even a combination of traits that will do the job. We all descended from black people. Bye. We walk by faith, not by sight.
All right, so this is what parents should be teaching their children at home. Don't worry about the schools teaching them. This is what they should be taught at home. Now, the problem is most of the parents are black females that really don't care about the knowledge that the children learn. They don't care about their own community. They don't care about the black men. But you black men, the black men that can, if you can, get your child back and start instructing them. Remember, the best place outside of a husband and wife for the child to be is with the black man. All right? I don't put those statistics up there for nothing. I want you to see firsthand what I'm talking about. All right? It's the best place for a child to be with that black man. All right? So those charts, I mean, I go and do the research so that you can see brothers. All you brothers. Now, I realize that the sisters have made it hell for us to do anything worthwhile. And they do that on purpose so that they can say, oh, they don't do anything. They're not holding up their, and that's the deflection. That's that demonic witchcraft that they learned. All right. But we don't have to be a party to that. All right. Brothers, stop teaching them religion and teach them real living, where everybody come from, where white people know they come from. They are the original people. Okay? And the circumcision he was talking about, that's a Hebraic custom. Guess where the Egyptians got it from? The Hebrews. But wait a minute. Why are we saying Egyptians like that was a specific group of people? The Egyptians was not that much of a specific group of people. All the people in the area of Egypt were black, but you have varying different groups of people based on the communities. Like you have the United States, and you could tell the difference between somebody from Georgia and somebody from, let's say, Pittsburgh or New York, Chicago, Boston. You see what I'm saying? You can tell. You can tell somebody from California, dude. All right? You can tell. I mean, y'all down in Texas, y'all know. All right, so that's how the land of Mistraim was. Before it was called Egypt, it was Mistraim. And the Ethiopians were the southern part of the continent, and Mistraim, Egypt or Kemet, was the northern part of the continent. All black peoples shared knowledge with one another. All black people shared knowledge for. So the Egyptian, there was no Egyptian singular group that came up with anything. It was a bunch of black people that lived in the northern part that came up with stuff. And as pharaohs came about, now you can narrow it down to a pharaoh, but all these builders were skilled builders. The Israelites were skilled. We just were feared because of how greatly we multiplied. That's what parents should be teaching. All right. First, teach that the origins of man is us, and then let's get into the weeds and dig into everything else. All right. Now, so for you white men that's coming on my channel, especially you racist one, I understand your racism. You're a minority. I get that. But I don't understand why you hate the very people that created you and taught you everything you know according to your own. Yeah, that's you white people. And now that makes this make sense. Check out this clip.
Black skin has naturally excellent protection from the sun. White skin needs the extra help of a sunscreen like UV. Better to be safe than sorry. When we're out in the sun, we're all at the mercy of Mother Nature. But think about it. To get the protection the black man has naturally, the white man needs a sunscreen like UV. So, Mother Nature must be black.
Now, this here is the true black woman that we've all been lusting after. You know, all natural. No tattoos, no silicone, real beauty, no weave. All right? And just to nail that point home, let the brothers explain it.
Oh, she was bad. Oh, she was bad? Oh, look at her. Ooh. She an African woman, boy.
No, wait. Over there. That is an African boutique.
Got a blonde hair?
Yeah, she looks like an African Slim Shady with a big yacht. Hey!
Hello! My beautiful bowl of yellow flies.
And it's all natural, baby.
She's a queen to me. A very special man.
All right, y'all, I love that clip. All right, so all natural. All right, and healthy looking. The modern day black woman don't even compare to that. Now here's the danger. The modern day African woman might get to where the modern day black woman, that means destroyed, by trying to follow the modern day black woman. So you African women, if it would behoove you, I like to say the word behoove, it would behoove you to not learn anything from these modern day black American women. They will destroy you. African brothers, nail this point home to those African sisters. And the islands are already gone. South America, the Brazilians are trying to make a comeback. All right, they're getting a grasp of who they really are. All right, and so again, white men, hate to do this to you again, but y'all check out this clip. All right, my final thoughts, right? Like I've always said, black men, we've had to fight everything because everyone is lying. They're lying to our children, and our women have taken their sides. All right, but at least for those of us watching my videos, and this one in particular, please share this everywhere. Oh, and please donate to my channel. You fellas, y'all know what I do with the donations, so please donate to my channel. I would like to do more. All right, so please donate. I'm leaving my link to donate down in all my description boxes, right? But I wanted to, just provide a little lighter note on such a deep subject. All right, so it's a little lighter note on such a deep subject. But brothers, pay attention. The lies are just deep. I put up a few videos, And brothers, please share them everywhere. Share them on Facebook, Snapchat, whatever platform you can share these on, so that we can start educating ourselves. All right? And not only that, I don't expect you all to agree with everything that I say. But at least we can all agree on what the problem is, that I'm really covering what the problem is. And that anybody that watches the videos all the way through can understand it. Yes, you're going to have your female-minded, good-for-nothing Negroes that would sell us out anyway. They're going to just do what they do, right? Because remember, their brains are gone. The women got them. They can't think like men anymore, all right? But for the brothers that still got manhood left in them, share this everywhere. Share them on Facebook, everywhere. All right? We need to reteach the truth. And we need to reinforce that which is being taught. With that said, I'm out. Let me say this. All this not knowing who we are is a part of this thing designed by everybody involved that's helping out to keep the sons of the Most High from understanding who we are supposed to be. I know who we are now, and who we are now is not who we're supposed to be. We need to get back to the commandments so that we can become who we used to be, who we're supposed to be. Who the B-Fem is now is not who she's supposed to be. But she don't care. And she's not repentant. She's not willing to repent. So leave her. Alright? This was just a little PS reminder. With that said, I'm out.